All right, so sticking with streaming for a bit more, I will talk about the finale of Sister Bond, and I'll talk about the show itself as a whole, right?
Right.
So, as you know, this is a four-part miniseries, coming courtesy of Ansel Harris, the founder and creator of the Villeventures universe. So this basically ends the first phase, if you want to call it that, of these the short run of shows, starting with Magnolia,
Yeah.
and then from there we're gonna get basically spin-off shows and new shows coming out of this, right? So yeah, as we know, or for those who don't know, pretty much it centers on Keisha, who is this private investigator, and her sister Giselle. They both going through financial hard times. I can more than relate to that, and they get this job. Basically take this guy from point A to point B. This guy being Keith, who is played by Kendall Arno. You remember him
Right.
as there's a comic relief from Visa Claw, right? And we learn later on he is actually Keisha's ex, right? Because
Right.
yeah, the moment they see each other, of course, Keith's like, "Oh, all right, babes, oh, let me make up the babes." And Keisha's like, "No, she doesn't want anything to do with it, right?" So Keith gets this MacGuffin, right? This device that sends out this signal, and we see this alien ship coming on, but we don't know what's going to happen. And all I would just say is that at the end, well, in this episode here, Keith ends up in trouble, and without spoiling anything, a surprise figure shows up and does things. That's all you'll
Okay.
see,
Right.
and leaves the possibility for what may happen in the future, right? And speaking of that, now just before I jump into the review here, there's also a post-credit scene, well, a couple of scenes actually, right, just put together post-credit wise, right, that hint at, well, one that hints at a possible second season, and the other one hinting at, let's just say, a tie-in that was set up earlier on with another Vil Ventures-based show. Yeah, so a character from that show shows back up. So the question is, what that is going to lead up to? Is it going to lead to a brand new series, or is it going to be part of Sister Bond season 2? Right. So just to give the entire show just a summary, as you will, right? As far as you know a show that, because so far, especially with Magnolia and Visa Claw, right, where it incorporates some character who has alien powers or superpowers, whatever it is,
Right.
it's pretty refreshing seeing that we have a show here with two characters who have no powers, right?
Right.
And who absolutely have no clue about, the wider world and all the space stuff and galactic stuff that was set up from since Magnolia days, right? So it's good to have like a show with characters whose boots are on the ground, right, so to speak, right? The leads themselves really make this show work. That would be Shamir, if I got the name wrong, sorry. Shamir Prince and Selena Lyons. Yeah, they both work very well though in terms of just that chemistry, right? It's just that kind of talking over each. It's that colloquial talking over each other kind of vibe about it.
Right. Right.
But I just love how dead bent they are in terms of getting money, not taking any BS. You know what I mean? So that stuff I can relate to, right? And yeah, the back and forth between them and Keith is great as well. I'm glad that Kendall gets to reprise that role, and he plays it very well, right? And I also like how it subtly connects to shows that we've seen before, right? But that being said, though, and this is going to lead into the finale, my one gripe with this, right, is that I felt like the main characters would have had a bigger role in what was set up in the first episode, i.e., this device and acquiring device and what the device is about, right? They more come off like witnesses to things more than anything else, and I just felt that they should have been participants in the story. And it's
Right.
their story, so they have to fit in it. They have to do something, right? And that's saying that we're not gonna do. Hopefully, they're not gonna do the CW DC thing and give them powers and super suits and whatnot, right? But the point is, it's their story, so they
Right.
have to play a much bigger role. And I felt like in this finale, they didn't really get that. Somebody comes in and steals the show from them, so to speak, and they're just like, "Oh wow, who is this character? Wow, okay, wow, wow, wow." It's like that. That was a letdown, right? And I'm just seeing this too because of the build up. Because I was just there waiting, like, all right, when they find out what's going on, or when they get some idea of what's going on, what are they gonna do about it, right? And it would have been great to see them actually do something, but unfortunately, that didn't happen. Um, and for me, just personally, I just felt like even though I know it's a mini series, right, and they're not
Right.
really that long anyway, like the episodes are about 10 minutes or so. To be honest, I felt we could have gotten at least two more episodes, man. You know,
Right.
it could have been a 6 episode, even a 5 episode run, but four just feels a little too scant in my opinion. You know, like there's so much story that could be told, and even in the finale itself, even with the post credit scenes and whatnot, there's still questions that are left unresolved, right? So you know, the question is whether they're gonna come up in another season or not. But even still, you know, stuff like that, we shouldn't have to wait for another season, like because
Right.
those things were really driving the story. Those things were bringing the intrigue and the the tension, if you will, right? But just to say, you know what, we could get to that in another season. Not with a 4 episode run. That's way too short, right? So the best way I could see this is like this special, if you will, like this special episode of, or like let me just say like a spin-off show, if you will, right? Similar to like what we got earlier, right? But it just kind of is filling the gap between, you know, not or what we got before and what we will get with this phase two plan of shows, right? That's the best
Right.
way I can describe Sister Bond, right? But yeah, for what it is, it's still entertaining, it's fun, but it's really the leads that hold things together. And you know, it's just the whole Trini colloquial response to this weird intergalactic stuff that totally works for me.
Right.
And I do hope that if we get another season that they play more of like they play into that, because that's a really like great way to explore sci-fi themes, right? Yeah, like you know, we Trini, we don't know what we. Well, it's not that we don't know. It's just that it's hard for us to believe something like that, right? So yeah, you could play that even stronger in the next season. Hopefully, if we get one, right? But yeah, for what it is, though, just rating the whole series or mini-series as a whole, 3 out of 5, man. It's
All right.
alright. It's
Nice
alright
one.
for what it
Okay.
is.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. So as before, it is on the GD Caribbean Network website, so you can check it out there. And yeah, just can't wait to see what we get next from the Phil Ventures universe, man. Yeah.
Nice.